Every so often the world is shaken by a new pandemic. Streets empty, headlines explode, and life as we know it changes overnight. But is there a pattern to these global crises, or are they simply unpredictable? After the swine flu outbreak in 2009 and the COVID-19 pandemic in 2019, a theory began to circulate. Pandemics strike every 10 years. Social media, news outlets, and even casual conversations pointed to this supposed cycle. But where did this idea come from? The truth is, our minds are wired to find patterns, even when none exist. The 10-year theory gained traction because two major pandemics happened a decade apart. But if we look at the bigger picture, the pattern quickly falls apart. Let's travel through time. In 1918, the Spanish flu swept the globe. Nearly 40 years later, the Asian flu emerged in 1957, followed by the Hong Kong flu in 1968. Decades passed before HIV/AIDS appeared in the 1980s and then SARS in 2002. The gaps between pandemics are anything but regular. The World Health Organization has declared several global health emergencies, but not all were pandemics, and not all pandemics were declared emergencies at the time. The reality is far more complex than a simple calendar cycle. Pandemics don't follow a schedule. They emerge from a mix of viral mutations, environmental changes, and global connections. Sometimes decades pass without a major outbreak, other times two pandemics strike within a few years. So the next time you hear that pandemics come every 10 years, remember, history tells a different story. The real pattern is unpredictability, and our greatest strength is readiness. The Spanish flu of 1918 to 1920 was the deadliest modern pandemic. Hospitals overflowed as patients filled every available bed. Cities imposed strict quarantines and citizens wore masks in a desperate attempt to slow the spread. Headlines reported staggering numbers, an estimated 50 million deaths worldwide. The world was forever changed by the scale of this tragedy. The Spanish flu killed more people than World War I, devastated young adults, and led to major advances in public health, including the use of masks and the creation of national health agencies. Nearly 4 decades later, the Asian flu emerged in 1957. Originating in China, it quickly spread across continents, aided by modern air travel. Schools closed, public gatherings were canceled, and the world watched as the virus moved from Asia to Europe and the Americas. Vaccines were developed rapidly, saving countless lives, but the toll was still high, between 1 and 2 million deaths. The Asian flu demonstrated the importance of global surveillance and rapid vaccine development, setting a precedent for future pandemic responses. In 1968, the Hong Kong flu swept across the globe. Air travel had become more common, and the virus spread with unprecedented speed. About 1 million people died, but the pandemic was milder than previous ones, thanks in part to improved medical care and faster communication. The Hong Kong flu highlighted the role of air travel in disease spread and the benefits of improved healthcare infrastructure, leading to faster containment and fewer deaths than earlier pandemics. The 1980s brought a very different kind of pandemic, HIV/AIDS. Unlike previous outbreaks, this virus spread silently at first, devastating communities before the world fully understood its impact. Awareness campaigns, interviews with survivors, and documentaries brought the crisis to light. Over 40 million people have died, and the fight continues to this day, changing society and medicine forever. HIV/AIDS transformed public health policy, inspired global activism, and led to breakthroughs in antiviral treatments and stigma reduction. In 2002, SARS emerged in Asia. News clips showed masked doctors and empty streets. The World Health Organization issued urgent briefings as the virus spread to multiple countries. There were 8,000 cases and 774 deaths. Though contained quickly, SARS was a warning of what could come. SARS prompted major investments in global disease surveillance and emergency preparedness, and showed how rapid response can contain outbreaks. The swine flu pandemic of 2009 was marked by rapid global spread. News anchors reported on red zones appearing across the world map. Within weeks, the virus reached 74 countries, causing over 200,000 deaths. The world mobilized quickly, learning valuable lessons for the future. Swine flu tested the world's pandemic readiness, led to improvements in vaccine distribution, and highlighted the need for transparent communication during health crises. The most recent and disruptive pandemic, COVID-19, began in 2019. Empty streets overwhelmed hospitals, and the race for vaccines became the new reality. Officially, over 7 million deaths have been recorded, making it the largest global disruption since World War II. the pandemic's impact will be felt for generations. Did COVID-19 accelerated vaccine technology, exposed global inequalities, and underscored the importance of preparedness, science, and international cooperation. The Spanish flu of 1918 to 1920 was the deadliest modern pandemic. Hospitals overflowed as patients filled every available bed. Cities imposed strict quarantines and citizens wore masks in a desperate attempt to slow the spread. Headlines reported staggering numbers and estimated 50 million deaths worldwide. The world was forever changed by the scale of this tragedy. Nearly 4 decades later, the Asian flu emerged in 1957. Originating in China, it quickly spread across continents, aided by modern air travel. Schools closed, public gatherings were canceled, and the world watched as the virus moved from Asia to Europe and the Americas. Vaccines were developed rapidly, saving countless lives, but the toll was still high, between 1 and 2 million deaths. In 1968, the Hong Kong flu swept across the globe. Air travel had become more common and the virus spread with unprecedented speed. About 1 million people died, but the pandemic was milder than previous ones, thanks in part to improved medical care and faster communication. The 1980s brought a very different kind of pandemic, HIV/AIDS. Unlike previous outbreaks, this virus spread silently at first, devastating communities before the world fully understood its impact. Awareness campaigns, interviews with survivors and documentaries brought the crisis to light. Over 40 million people have died and the fight continues to this day, changing society and medicine forever. In 2002, SARS emerged in Asia. News clips showed masked doctors and empty streets. The World Health Organization issued urgent briefings as the virus spread to multiple countries. There were 8,000 cases and 774 deaths. Though contained quickly, SARS was a warning of what could come. The swine flu pandemic of 2009 was marked by rapid global spread. News anchors reported on red zones appearing across the world map. Within weeks, the virus reached 74 countries, causing over 200,000 deaths. The world mobilized quickly, learning valuable lessons for the future. The most recent and disruptive pandemic, COVID-19, began in 2019. Empty streets, overwhelmed hospitals, and the race for vaccines became the new reality. Officially, over 7 million deaths have been recorded, making it the largest global disruption since World War II. The pandemic's impact will be felt for generations. Throughout history, pandemics have caused immense suffering and loss. Yet when we look at the big picture, global population rarely declines for long. The numbers may dip or growth may slow, but humanity rebounds, often stronger than before. Let's start with the Spanish flu of 1918 to 1920. It was the deadliest pandemic of the modern era, claiming an estimated 50 million lives worldwide. Cities were devastated, families torn apart, and the world was forever changed. But even after such tragedy, the global population began to recover. According to United Nations data, the world's population doubled within 50 years of the Spanish flu. By the 1970s, there were twice as many people on Earth as there had been in 1920. This remarkable rebound shows the resilience of humanity, even after catastrophic loss. The pattern repeats with other pandemics. The Asian flu in 1957 and the Hong Kong flu in 1968 each caused over 1 million deaths. Yet, global population growth only slowed briefly before continuing its upward trend. In the 1980s, the HIV/AIDS pandemic emerged. Unlike previous outbreaks, HIV/AIDS spread slowly and silently, devastating communities over decades. More than 40 million people have died, and the fight continues. But even with this ongoing crisis, the world's population kept rising, especially as treatments improved and awareness grew. The 21st century brought new challenges. SARS in 2002, swine flu in 2009, and most recently, COVID-19, each left their mark. COVID-19 in particular has been the most disruptive event in generations, with millions of lives lost and societies upended. But even now, the world's population continues to grow. The United Nations projects that by 2050 there will be nearly 10 billion people on Earth. While pandemics can slow growth, they do not reverse the long-term trend. Why does this happen? After a pandemic, birth rates often rebound as societies recover. Advances in medicine, nutrition, and public health help populations bounce back. Communities rebuild, families grow, and hope returns. Of course, the scars of pandemics remain. Some communities are changed forever, and the loss is deeply felt. But the story of humanity is one of resilience. Again and again we adapt, innovate, and move forward. The next time you hear that pandemics will cause the world's population to collapse, remember the data. History shows that while the road to recovery can be long, the human spirit endures. Our greatest strength is our ability to come together, support one another, and build a better future. In the end, pandemics remind us of our vulnerability, but also our resilience. The world's population keeps rising, and so does our hope. Together, we can face any challenge and shape a brighter tomorrow. Pandemics are not random disasters, they are the result of a complex web of interactions between humans, animals, and the environment. To understand why pandemics happen, we need to start with the science of viruses. Viruses are constantly mutating, evolving new ways to survive and spread. Most mutations are harmless or go unnoticed, but sometimes a tiny genetic change gives a virus the ability to infect a new host, like humans. This process is called viral evolution, and it's happening all around us, all the time. Occasionally, a virus mutates in a way that allows it to jump from animals to humans, a phenomenon known as zoonotic spillover. This is how many of the world's most dangerous diseases have emerged. For example, HIV is believed to have originated from primates, Ebola from bats, and coronaviruses like SARS and COVID-19 from animals sold in live markets. These spillovers often occur where people and animals interact closely, such as farms, markets, or areas where wildlife habitats are disturbed. Scientists estimate that over 60% of new infectious diseases in humans are zoonotic in origin. Bats, birds, pigs, and other animals can all harbor viruses that, under the right conditions, can infect people. Sometimes these viruses cause only mild illness, but in rare cases, they can trigger global pandemics. Infographics and data from the World Health Organization show a steady rise in zoonotic outbreaks over the past century. Once a virus makes the leap to humans, globalization and modern travel can turn a local outbreak into a worldwide crisis in a matter of days. In the past, it took months or years for diseases to cross continents. Today, a person can board a plane in one country and arrive on the other side of the world in less than a day, carrying a virus with them. Maps of global air travel routes reveal just how interconnected our world has become. The COVID-19 pandemic is a clear example. Within weeks of the first reported cases, the virus had spread to nearly every country on Earth. Air travel, business trips, tourism, and migration all played a role in accelerating the spread. The same was true for the 2009 swine flu and the 1968 Hong Kong flu. These outbreaks show how quickly a new disease can become a global threat. But travel is only part of the story. Environmental changes are making pandemics more likely. As forests are cleared for agriculture and cities expand, humans come into closer contact with wildlife. This increases the chances of new viruses crossing over from animals to people. Deforestation, urban sprawl, and habitat loss are all contributing factors. Climate change is another major factor. Rising temperatures, shifting rainfall patterns, and extreme weather events can alter the habitats of animals and insects, bringing them into new areas and closer to human populations. Mosquitoes, for example, are now found in regions where they were once rare, increasing the risk of diseases like Zika, dengue, and malaria. Urbanization also plays a role. As more people move into cities, population density increases, making it easier for viruses to spread. Crowded housing, public transportation, and large gatherings can all accelerate transmission. In many cities, access to healthcare and sanitation is limited, making outbreaks harder to control. Human behavior is another key factor. Practices like bushmeat hunting, illegal wildlife trade, and intensive farming can all increase the risk of new diseases. In some regions, cultural traditions and economic pressures make these practices difficult to change, even when the risks are known. Public health campaigns and education are essential to reducing these dangers. Scientists and public health experts are working to identify and monitor these risks. Surveillance programs track outbreaks in animals and humans, while researchers study how viruses evolve and spread. Early detection and rapid response are critical to preventing local outbreaks from becoming global pandemics. Advances in technology like genetic sequencing and AI-powered monitoring are making it possible to spot threats sooner than ever before. Despite these efforts, the risk of pandemics is rising. More people, more travel, and more environmental disruption mean that new diseases will continue to emerge. But understanding the factors that drive pandemics can help us prepare and respond more effectively. International collaboration, data sharing, and investment in public health are key to building a safer future. In summary, Pandemics happen because of a web of interconnected factors: virus evolution, animal-human contact, globalization, environmental change, urbanization, and human behavior. Each of these elements increases the chances that a new disease will emerge and spread. But there is hope. Scientific advances, global cooperation, and a commitment to public health are giving us new tools to prevent and fight pandemics. By recognizing these risks and working together, we can build a safer, healthier future for everyone. Experts say pandemics are inevitable but not predictable. It could be 5 years, 10 years, or tomorrow. What matters is preparation, strong healthcare systems, vaccines, and global cooperation. It could be 5 years, 10 years, or tomorrow. What matters is preparation, strong healthcare systems, vaccines, and global cooperation. History doesn't run on a fixed clock. Pandemics arrive unexpectedly, testing the strength of our societies. In the darkest moments, empty streets, overwhelmed hospitals, families apart, humanity finds ways to rise and adapt. We've learned the value of science, compassion, and community. Vaccines and research have saved millions, and every act of solidarity brings us closer together. Around the world, children return to school, families reunite, and communities support each other. Even as cities grow quiet, hope and healing begin to take root. Pandemics remind us that we are all connected. Borders may close, but compassion and cooperation know no boundaries. Together we are stronger. As we look ahead, let's stay informed, support science, and care for one another. Every lesson learned brings us closer to a brighter tomorrow. The scars of pandemics remain, but so does our ability to adapt and move forward. With each new day, opportunities to heal and unite emerge. Thank you for watching. If you found this video inspiring, please like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into history and science. Share your thoughts